All right. All right, Peach, whenever you are ready.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Kate. Welcome to our evening about kindergarten. Thank you all for attending and being open to gain some more knowledge about our kindergarten program and the outcomes you will expect to have with your children once they graduate in June. We understand that choosing the best kindergarten is difficult, but a crucial decision, and I am here with my team to help you navigate through this family decision. We also find ourselves in an uncertain time with the pandemic and the pending timeline on herd immunity, which could affect the reopening of the full-time kindergarten option in public schools. So we're well aware of that. Our kindergarten at Burlington has been open for 6 years, and we've graduated almost 130 children from our class. We are about to open our second school in Woburn, but we will use the same knowledge and expertise that we have gained from the experience at Burlington. And we now have experience and history to draw from, which we'll share with you tonight. We will introduce you to the key players of your child's progress in learning, including how the curriculum is developed and how that curriculum produces great results. We will give you insight into what your child will do and what their days and months will look like in terms of academic learning and social ability. We will close with questions. So now we'll take the time to talk about our program's results. So Primrose children are sought out after by kindergarten and first grade teachers in the local public schools. Teachers at local public schools routinely ask for Primrose students to join their classrooms because of their skills they've developed while their tenure here at Burlington. Will be the same for Woburn. They are prepared to learn, which means they're able to sit, attend, and show how to really their love of learning. This means that your child will enter school backed by the excellent Primrose reputation. This placement will reflect what is known with their abilities. When appropriate across all areas of development, children who have missed the public school cutoff have been able to test into first grade in some surrounding towns due to the rigor of our kindergarten class curriculum. So we had 6 children over the past 6 years who've been accepted into first grade that didn't make the cutoff date. So if your child shows readiness across all of their development, you will have the support from Kate Latham to help test your child into that first grade if that's appropriate for you and your family. And Primrose kindergarten children have academically advanced compared to their peers. And we say this because they are participating and engaged in over 400 more hours of learning. They're learning 2 times the amount of sight words than their peers in public schools. They are taught how to problem solve, and they are able to use critical thinking with our STEM curriculum. By attending Primrose, your child has an increased chance of an academic excellence and success. So let's talk about our experts here. In order to produce these results, we have a wonderful team of educational experts who help implement 4 different curricula from 4 nationally recognized publishers. We hire at least 1 DESE certified faculty and confirm we are providing our best kindergarten program in New England. And Shana Tellis will go into that a little bit further into our presentation. So our 2 teams, currently our team at Burlington is myself, I'm the principal. And then we have the educational director, who is Kate Latham, if you want to just wave, Kate. And the faculty director, who is Shana Tellis, if you'll just wave, Shana. Then our team at Woburn is Rachel Van Emmen, and she is the principal and owner of both schools. Rachel, if you'll just give a wave. And then the educational and faculty director, which is Mackenzie Chessman, and she's at Woburn as well with Rachel. At Burlington, Kate Latham ensures that the children are receiving a premier education with many new and exciting opportunities with outside vendors. She is also responsible for the special education services across both of the schools. Kate joined the Primrose School of Burlington after working as a child development program administrator and a teacher in the public school system. So she comes to us with lots of knowledge, which is very helpful in the kindergarten age group. Kate has a vast background on what the public school is looking for when kindergarten children are looking to enter first grade, which is wonderful. I'm so glad we have her on our team for that. Her work at Primrose also includes ensuring all graduates from both schools receive the most appropriate placement for their next school. So she starts that process, and the partnership is amazing. In 2019, she led the school through the process to be one of the first early childhood learning schools in the world to receive Cognia STEM certification, which is amazing. Next, at the Burlington School, we have Shayna Tellis, and she oversees all curriculum implementation and faculty development. She ensures that all our faculty are implementing the curriculum to our high standard. She works directly with the faculty to produce high-skilled early childhood educators so that the students receive the best curriculum implementation through our balanced learning approach. And finally, at the Woburn School, Mackenzie Chessman oversees all curriculum implementation and faculty development. She ensures that one-of-a-kind faculty members are guiding their students through purposeful play and helping the children develop their natural sense of curiosity, creativity, confidence, and compassion. Every learning experience is purposeful, with flexibility for faculty to adapt and personalize it for each child. With the help of Ms. Chessman, our faculty embark on a journey to be the best teachers that they can be through continuous learning and meeting all of Primrose School of Woburn's professional standards. Once Kate and Shayna finish their presentation, I will briefly explain the enrollment process. This section of the evening is important because we have very limited seats at both Burlington and the Woburn schools. Due to the demand of this program, as you all can imagine, this is a first come, first serve basis. So any of our current families have until this Friday, which is February 5th, to elect to be at our school, and then we'll open it up, the roster, to all outside families, including waitlist families. So I will ask that during the presentation, please send to Rachel Van Emmen your contact information if you would like to move forward with possibly enrolling in our kindergarten. You're going to send her via that chat function down at the bottom of the Zoom meeting. The information would include your name, your child's name, your child's birthday, your telephone number, and your email. So basically a way to get a hold of you so that we can continue this conversation after this evening. And Kate Latham, and will now give her presentation with help from Shayna Tellis.
Awesome. Thank you, Peach. All right, so Shayna is going to get us started. You probably heard Peach mention that we have at least one DESE licensed teacher, and Shayna's going to talk a little bit about what that means.
Thank you, Kate. So to become a teacher in Massachusetts is no easy task. Mass requires a very vigorous education for a teacher to become a licensed professional. Through the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, a teacher must complete a 4-year education program at an accredited college. And through that, they have to complete a 150-hour student teaching requirement that's supervised by a college official and professionally licensed teacher. During their student teaching, the licensure candidate must complete a 71-page performance assessment for submission to the state in order to assess their readiness. And this will conclude them getting a bachelor's degree. So becoming a teacher, they put in many, many hours and dedication into their learning that's overseen by the state, essentially. So to continue that, teachers also must pass what is called the Massachusetts States for Educator Licensure, for what most people recognize it as their MTELs. They have to pass the minimum of 3, which is our communication and literacy MTEL exam, their early childhood education MTEL exam, and then their foundations of reading MTEL as well. So you have to pass those 3, and then they even have to take additional courses on top of that, which includes their SEI teacher endorsement, which is our Massachusetts Sheltered English Immersion, and they can either take that in the form of an MTEL or complete it as a course. And then they also must receive a passing, nope, it covers both. So, and yeah, that's what it takes to become a teacher in Massachusetts.
Thank you, Sheena. So it is not a requirement of a program like ours to have a teacher who is licensed by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. The requirement is simply that we have a teacher who is certified by the Department of Early Education and Care. That certification requires 1 college course and about 9 months of experience. And while that is wonderful to us, someone with that level of experience may not be able to produce the outcomes that we promise you guys, which is why we do prioritize having a DESE licensed teacher. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our assessments. So in kindergarten, if your child's in pre-K, you might be familiar with this assessment. We use the STAR assessment. It is what we call a SMART assessment. So it is online based. The questions change as the child answers, and the test kind of adjusts itself based on the answers that the child is giving. And it gives us very accurate data for each individual child about their literacy and math skills. We do the STAR assessment 3 times a year. It's basically, the STAR assessment can be used for children in pre-K through 3rd grade. And it doesn't necessarily differentiate based on their age, the age of the test taker. It simply gives them questions in response to the skills that they're showing that they have. So you will actually get data throughout the year about what grade level your child is at. And currently we just did our 2nd round of STAR assessments for this year. We currently have 32 kindergarten students between 2 classrooms at Burlington. Of those 32, 4 of them are currently performing at a 2nd grade level. 15 of them are currently performing at a 1st grade level, and the rest of them are performing ahead of what we would expect for a kindergartner in, gosh, I think we're in our 6th month of the school year. We're very pleased with these test results. They really are a testament to the 400 extra hours that we get with our kindergarten students each year. Our program, as you all know, if you're a current student, goes a bit longer than the public school half or 3/4 day kindergarten programs. And we also do not close for school vacation weeks. So our teachers get about 400 extra academic hours with the students, and they really capitalize on those to make sure that the content is continuing. So moving into our curriculum, as you know, our curriculum is what we call our balanced learning approach. So our curriculum is research informed and time tested. The curriculum throughout the school is created by a team of 12 PhDs who are experts in their field. Kindergarten does use some Primrose proprietary curriculum, but we also use several published curricula that I'll talk about in just a little bit. But we feel that the curriculum, even in kindergarten, needs to be a balance of play and guidance by the teachers to really continue to encourage their curiosity and love for learning like we do in our other classrooms. So there are a few different types of learning that the children go through. Parts of our curriculum are child initiated. So the teacher will set up the environment with certain materials, and the children are able to explore as they see fit. Some of the learning is teacher guided. So again, the teachers will set up the environment. The children can explore it as they see fit, but the teacher is going to be present, asking them questions and encouraging them to really extend their thinking and exploration. And then the third method is teacher directed. So as you'll hear about our small group literacy, math, and then also writing, does occur in a teacher-directed manner, that the teachers are directing the learning experiences in order to be able to differentiate the curriculum and what they're presenting to be appropriate for each individual learner. A big part of our kindergarten curriculum is based on design thinking. So what this means is that the teachers are often giving the children different questions or challenges to think through to encourage their curiosity, their creativity, and also their confidence in their own problem-solving skills. The teachers don't want to be giving them all the answers. We really want them to feel confident and to have the skills to go out and look for answers in the world around them. If you are a current Primrose family, you also know that the entire school has a very strong focus on character development, and that is still just as important in kindergarten. It's our last year with the students to ensure that when they leave us, they are very well-rounded children. We don't just want them to be performing beyond grade level academically. We want them to be good people who understand the benefit of taking care of their community and the world around them. So character development comes through in the curriculum, as you'll see. So a day in kindergarten is very busy. I will bring COVID into this now, as much as I think all would love to avoid it. We are currently running under the hours of 8 to 5 for this school year. We do not know if that will change next year. We are very hopeful that it will. There is one regulation that the state has put in place that is keeping us at 8 to 5. It has to do with staffing and not being able to move people in and out of the classroom. As long as that one regulation goes away, we'll be able to extend our hours. So that is most definitely our goal. We are very hopeful that by September that will be the case, in which case we would be opening at 7 in the morning, which I think we all look forward to getting back to. In that case, we would bring back our early morning arrivals, and in kindergarten, that's when we do what we call the Explorers program. As you can see, there will be several centers set up that the children are able to go to as they please. These centers are hands-on, very much exploratory play for them. Then the day really gets started at 8 a.m. They start the day with music to get them moving and get them engaged and ready. From there, they go into circle time. Circle time is very similar to pre-K, preschool. In kindergarten, we do continue the Mucho Mundo curriculum. They do further the Spanish that they are learning. And I think probably one of the favorite parts of the kindergarten morning is Noggin Joggin. Noggin Joggin is basically how the teachers are introducing what they're going to be learning for the day. So they'll talk about what they're going to be working on. They'll ask the kids, what are you wondering about this topic that we're going to be learning about? What do you already know about what we're learning about today? To get them just thinking and excited for what they have ahead. From there, we move into literacy. And I am going to move the presentation along so that you can read along with me. The literacy curriculum that we use is benchmark literacy. It is a published curriculum that is not written by Primrose. It's written by the Benchmark Corporation. It really focuses on foundational reading skills. So we don't, we're very, very happy to say that every child who has graduated our kindergarten program historically has graduated reading. I can tell you as a former public school kindergarten teacher that doesn't always happen. So we are very proud of that. However, it is very important that they don't leave us just having memorized some books and words. We really want them to be able to understand what they're reading and to have a love of reading. And so the benchmark curriculum is really perfect for that. It's a very comprehensive research-based curriculum that focuses on the foundational skills of reading and not just, sounds and letters, but really even the comprehension. It provides students a lot of opportunities to read all sorts of different types of texts, and to have conversations about what they're reading, to identify things that they love to read about, and again, just continue that love for learning. Literacy happens in the classroom a few different ways. So they'll do a whole group experience that might be reading a book or poem. It could be all sorts of activities. From there, they move into centers and small groups. So there will be several centers set up throughout the classroom that are related to different literacy concepts that they're working on. That's when that child-directed exploration really comes in. The children are able to move throughout the centers, practicing their skills. During that time, one of the teachers is working with small groups of students on very specific skills. So they will have 4 or 5 students come work with them at a time. The students who they work with are grouped according to their specific development. It is very important to us that the teachers use what they know about the students and their learning to make sure that the information they are teaching them is at the perfect level for them. We don't want them to be bored. We want them to be challenged, but we also don't want them to be frustrated and feel defeated in their learning. So that's why the teachers spend a lot of time monitoring each child's progress so that they're able to differentiate what they're doing appropriately. From there, we move into Writer's Workshop. Writer's Workshop is the writing portion of the benchmark literacy curriculum. It is the best writing program, that I have ever seen. The students, they really move through a very impressive continuum of learning their writing skills over the course of the year. By the end of the year, they've studied spelling and grammar and punctuation, and they're able to use their writing to independently voice their thoughts and opinions and hopes and dreams. And it's just really incredible, the confidence that it builds in them. My favorite part about Writer's Workshop is that at the end of every writing lesson, after the children have, answered whatever the prompt for that day might be, they come back together as a group, and the children have the opportunity to share what they've written about. And in doing that, the kids get to practice their public speaking, which is, a big deal for a 5 or 6 year old. And, you know, the other children get to practice being a good audience, showing respect, showing interest, and it really helps just to build their worldview and help to reinforce the idea that there are people around them who think differently or see differently than they do. And it's really a fantastic aspect of the curriculum. So if we move on to math, we use the Big Ideas math program. Again, this is not a curriculum created by Primrose. This is actually written by Dr. Larson and Dr. Boswell. They have been writing different math curricula together for over 20 years now. And this will be our third year using Big Ideas Math. This is similar to the literacy curriculum in that it's really based in teaching the foundational skills and then building on that. Over the course of the year, the children learn algebra, so addition, subtraction. They learn about geometry. Their study of 3D shapes is always one of the favorites of the year. They learn number recognition, so they talk about place value, measuring, patterning. So they learn a lot of exciting things. Math is done in a very hands-on way. It's set up similar to literacy, where they'll get to move through different centers, practicing hands-on, concepts while the teacher is pulling small groups. Again, those small groups are catered towards the individual learners. And the teachers really work to start with the basics and build on them. Math can often be frustrating and scary, but if you start with the basics and work slowly, we see a lot of success in having the children really build a love for math throughout their kindergarten year. Sorry. So one thing that is up in the air for next year, again, because of COVID, is our social studies curriculum. So generally, we use a curriculum called Level Up Village. It is amazing. So what Level Up Village does is partner classrooms like ours with kindergarten classrooms in other parts of the world, generally in Africa. And the teachers in our classroom and the teachers in the African classrooms pair and partner together to teach the same lessons to both of their groups of children through the use of video chatting and the Level Up Village platform. The two classes are able to communicate with each other and share what they learned through the different units of learning. Obviously, a pandemic in Africa has made using that curriculum completely impossible this year. We do not know yet if we will be able to use it next year, but of course we hope very much that we will. The other major parts of the day are music, and actually this presentation came from Primrose, and they didn't change it. We do use harmony and heart in kindergarten as well as we do in the rest of the school. One big change in kindergarten is that there is no option for nap time. So what we do instead is quiet time. During that time, the teachers will turn the lights off in the classroom and the kids get to basically have free choice. They can use the materials in the classrooms to independently play and get about a half-hour break. Our kindergarten classroom has a very strong focus on mindfulness. So during this time, the teachers will often do yoga with them as well. One of our kindergarten teachers actually just went through the Yoga for Classrooms training and is using all sorts of amazing new techniques that she learned with them. So they're really having fun with it. And that's a great place for me to talk a little bit about the social and emotional side of kindergarten. So our biggest goal in kindergarten is to prepare them for the vastly different setting of elementary school the next year. So we really want to build their confidence over the course of the year so that they're able to speak up for themselves. They are able to independently problem solve. If a social situation comes up that doesn't feel good to them, they know how to talk it out. They know how to make a compromise. They know who to go to for help. So a lot of that brings in the mindfulness of being able to, control themselves and their actions, as well as leading others to do the same. Another really great part of kindergarten is project time. So project time is where STEM really comes in. As many of you may know, we are a STEM accredited program, as Peaches mentioned. So STEM is very important in our program. We in kindergarten have some very cool STEM offerings. I think the favorite being the dash and dot robots that the children learn coding with over the course of the year. There are these two great little educational robots that have an iPad app that goes along with them. And the kids start by learning at the beginning of the year how to code dash to be able to move in a certain way through a maze. And by the end of the year, they're programming them to play a xylophone, to play one of their favorite songs. So as you can imagine, they absolutely love that. We also do a lot of the design thinking during this time. So the teachers may give them a challenge like we have um, this giraffe, and I need you to build a structure for the giraffe with your group that will keep it dry if it rains, but also allow it to eat leaves off the trees. And the children have to work together to figure out how to create that structure. You can imagine that with a group of 5-year-olds trying to work together, this time also brings in a lot of those social dynamics and figuring out how to lead and how to follow and how to compromise and how to really work together. From there, we have special program time. In outside of COVID, that's when our special guests are coming in. That's when iRobot is bringing in a cart of 20 Roombas for the kids to take apart and, learn about their different pieces. That's when Shippin' Farm is bringing 10 baby goats for them. So we are very, very hopeful that we'll be able to get back to that next year. This year we're doing as much as we can via Zoom, but baby goats really aren't quite the same when they're not in person. So hopefully next year when it's your children in the classroom, we'll be able to have those special guests back. During that time, it's also when we do our adopt a grandparent program, which is something that is only for kindergarten. So we partner with the elderly living next door, Stonebridge, and we'll do different activities with the residents that might look like a group of them coming over to listen to a story and do an activity with the children. Sometimes we go to them for concerts. Again, this is obviously something that's not happening during the pandemic, but hopefully, next year we'll be able to get back to that. From there, they go to reflections of the day, and that's just really a time for them to debrief, to talk about what they learned. If something throughout the day brought up a question, they'll talk through it as a class. And then we move into the afternoon. So if you are really a Burlington or Bedford resident, and you've looked into public kindergarten, you know that their kindergarten programs are fantastic, but probably what you are worried about is after school, because after school in many of the towns around us is very hard to come by. The Explorers program is our version of after school. It is part of the kindergarten tuition for every student that we have. It's not something extra that you have to enter a lottery and hope that you get into or pay extra for. It is just something that you get. It is structured very similarly to their day. So they have a schedule that they follow. They have a curriculum that they're doing. It's not, a free for all, but it's much more, hands-on. This is when they get to build their incredible creations with Legos, or do the very messy art projects that none of us as parents want to do at home. All of those things happen in the afternoon. So that is basically a summary of the day. Of course, we feed them in kindergarten just like we do in our other classrooms. Outside of COVID, in kindergarten, they get to eat family style. So, they sit around the big tables with big bowls of food and serve each other. And it's a great time for camaraderie. I add that to the list of things we hope we can bring back next year. All right. In kindergarten, if you are new to Primrose, we wear uniforms. So the children wear uniforms Monday through Thursday. Friday is a free dress day. If you enroll, you'll get more information about that. And then we have, since we're not doing this presentation in the kindergarten classroom, I have a video that will hopefully kind of make up for that and give you a glimpse into the room that you would normally be sitting in for this.
This is a Primrose kindergarten classroom. It's as special as the children who gather around its circle. In this classroom, letters become words and words become sentences. And sometimes those sentences even become stories. In this classroom, coding is part of the curriculum, and a robot is a member of the class. In this classroom, Spanish is spoken each day, so a second language will become second nature. In this classroom, some of the world's greatest artists are celebrated and charmingly imitated. This classroom is home to 12 puppets, each with a story to tell and a lesson to teach. Hi, Molly. This classroom is a place where children meet new friends and put kindness and fairness into action. In this classroom, children take in words, numbers, colors, sounds, and they carry them through each lesson they learn that day. Because Primrose's carefully structured curriculum helps them connect numbers from math with counting beats of music, and to connect colors from art class with fruit from snack time. In this classroom, every moment, every lesson, every day adds up. So at the end of each day, your little one has grown up just a little bit more, ready to do big things in first grade and beyond. This is a Primrose classroom.
All right, and from there, I am going to hand things back over to Peach, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Kate. That was awesome. Very informative. So our kindergarten, just to go over to conclude with the pricing. So our kindergarten is everything that you just heard her say, which is all wonderful, and also includes any materials that we need for the classroom, individualized or for the classroom as a whole. We have a chef, so those of you who don't know, this would include a nice warm lunch for the children, and then also 2 snacks a day. Once we get back to those extended hours, again, it will be 3 snacks. So all of this is included in our pricing, which is $2,046 per month, and is a $200 registration fee. So as a reminder, if you wish to enroll, please send Rachel Van Emmen, who is the principal over at Woburn, but also the owner of both schools, your contact information through that chat at the bottom. Again, it would just be your name, your child's name, and basically your contact information, email, phone number so that we can get a hold of you if you would like to continue this conversation after tonight. And then, like Kate said, we are going to open the floor up to questions. So if anybody has any questions, let us know.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Maya.
Hi, that's nice to see you, Kate. The question I had is you mentioned sort of a large, I guess, range of children within the kindergarten classroom, ranging from kindergarten all the way to sort of second grade. And then you also mentioned, how the curriculum sort of is able to, I guess, be individualized towards those children. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit towards how the curriculum in kindergarten is sort of able to, how the teachers are able to do that, given the size of the classroom and resources. And then the second question I also have is just how it differs from the pre-K program. How, if there are any specific differences you can point to.
Yeah, really everything is pretty different. It's very rigorous. The kids it's very structured. Where in pre-K they get a bit more flexibility if there's a certain center that they're really not a fan of. In kindergarten, they're going to do all the work, because we really need to do what we need to do to make sure that they're prepared for the next year. We are, and I can speak as a former Primrose kindergarten teacher, the Primrose kindergarten teachers are quite spoiled. So when I was teaching in public school, I had, anywhere from maybe 24 to 26 kids, and it was me by myself. We have, well, this year is a little different because we have 2 classrooms, but in a typical year, we have 1 classroom of 20 students and 2 teachers. The teachers get planning time every single day so that they have the time that they need to prep to make sure that, what they're presenting in class is appropriate for the children who they're presenting it to. So they really have ample time and support to make sure that they're able to get all of that ready. I think Jay has a question. Jay, if you want to unmute.
Hi, yes. So my question, we talked about public schooling, and I know many of the parents don't consider private schooling for elementary at least. But we've been exploring a lot of options and just trying to learn what it entails, to go from pre-K into private schooling in different kindergarten. We have many private schools, in this area, and we've been exploring some of them. And we have some experience from family as well. So I was just, if you guys had any other stories besides public schooling into, getting into other private schools around here from kindergarten.
Yeah, so as you said, there are many private schools in the area. Each has their own individual approach to kindergarten and to teaching and learning. Our kindergarten program is very rigorous. There are some programs that are much more play-based and kind of free-flowing. Our kindergarten is not necessarily that. We expect a lot out of our students. We challenge them. We really push them. If your child goes through kindergarten in Primrose, they're going to look very different from their peers when they leave us. We have a very high standard in the kindergarten classroom. And I don't mean that to be intimidating. The teachers provide the perfect amount of support to the students. And, we make sure that every child who does enroll in kindergarten is prepared for it and is going to thrive in it. But yeah, I can't necessarily speak to other private schools because we all do things very differently with different philosophies and approaches to things. So it will look very different from school to school for sure.
And your association with the Cognia style of learning. So I try to look into that a little bit more. Anaya hasn't attended any other school but Primrose ever since she started school. So Cognia is basically Primrose, and I think there are some other schools in Boston. I think a couple of them.
Yeah, so Cognia is actually a worldwide accreditation body. So Cognia accredits schools that range from early childhood all the way actually up through colleges. And so what that means is that they come in and basically evaluate your curriculum, your leadership, your teachers, your communication with parents, your connection to the community against their standards. And if you meet their standards with your practices, then they will award you an accreditation that you have to renew every 5 years. And if you don't meet their standards, you don't get that accreditation. So that's basically what that means. If you're interested in more information about that, they do have a website that walks through what their standards are and, the other schools around the world that are Cognia accredited.
Thanks, Kate. And good luck to you guys with the new school in Woburn. I think it's a great location for sure.
Thank you, Jay. All right, I see Martin, you have a question.
Hi, Kate. Hi to everybody on the team. First, great presentation. It was a pleasure, listening through it. I have a question combining two of the things that you mentioned, right? First, high standards at kindergarten, which is great. But then we also have some kids, and my son being one of them, that misses the cutoff for public schools. So I have two questions out of this situation. What is the overall experience of students that, unless they repeat kindergarten, end up being in, going kindergarten in a public school, after attending Primrose high standards? What is the experience that we have from that? Is my first one. And second, you mentioned that there are great results when it comes to how prepared they are. Some even making it all the way to like second grade. What is the process of obtaining or applying for first grade at public schools nearby? Because you mentioned over the last 5 years or so, 6 kids. Is there a relationship between these numbers, or is just that end up being the case?
So one of the biggest parts of my job is to work with the public schools to make sure that the children who graduate our program end up in exactly the right spot for them. So that happens in a couple of ways. Representatives from the 3 major school districts who we work with, so Burlington, Lexington, and Bedford, come out at the end of every school year, usually around April. And I take them to meet the students from their school district. So they actually come into our classrooms and spend time with the students during the school day and get to know them a little bit. From there, I meet with them and we go through each student individually, and I share, insight about their learning styles, their development so far, the type of teacher I think they would do best with, any kids who I would like to see them end up in the same classroom with, or on the flip side, if there are students who I think they probably would do better not ending up in the same classroom with, I share that information. And from there, the schools use that for their placement the following year. I also provide them with the data from our assessments so that the teachers, I can run a report that shows each individual child's achievement within each state standard. And so the teachers, their teachers for the following year get those reports. So they know exactly what standards they've mastered and exactly what they're still working on, whether that be from a kindergarten standard all the way up through 3rd grade. For the children who test into 1st grade, even though they meet the cutoff, that process varies from school system to school system. And that's something that around this time of year, I start working with parents on, and, having an honest conversation about what, we feel is best for their child, and then, what it kind of looks like from there. So that's a very individualized process, that I work with each family individually on. Do we have any other questions?
Kate, a follow-up question on Martin's question. So you just work with these 3 school districts only?
No, so those are the 3 school districts who come to visit. But for every single child we have graduating, reach out to their school district and work with them in whatever capacity they will allow. There's no bounds to, the school system who I'll contact on your behalf, even if it's private schools. I will go through the same process with you. So no matter where your child is going, I've worked with schools out of state as well. So no matter where your child is going, part of my commitment to you guys, and part of what Peach and Rachel have me doing is making sure that your child is going to end up exactly where they should, even though they're no longer going to be within our walls. We want to make sure that they're taken care of, and that the next step is the right one for them.
Hey, one more question. This is Jay. Student to teacher ratio. I mean, I know that's not really advertised for kindergarten and elementary, but I've seen it. So I think that would be 10-1, correct?
Correct.
That'll be 10-1 for Primrose kindergarten.
Yep. In a typical year where we're not opening extra COVID classrooms, we have 20 students and 2 teachers.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if anybody thinks of any questions after this, please don't hesitate to reach out. Any of us on this call are happy to help after this, if anything else comes up. All right.
Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you Kate and Shayna for your great presentations, and we're very excited for Woburn to be opening. So we'll launch with that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.